post Zambia for starting Yanomo Kafa Ghana Honominim, how she also reacted to it. AC, how do you react to some of these comments from Zambia for?
Well, Makwaba to our platform. To say the Yenya Bemanikai president is in Zambia, yes. You who say Oko Exa, I mean on the Ghanaian space, Zambia is trending #1. Space, so all because of comment near there what make of President John Dramani Mahama ni Fugu and Batakari and smoke our shed the call Zambia. Like you said, they be say a blouse near there. And according to Zambians, almost say or more hono or more pamatadia, Bema dear, where you swear 1 yard and now 2 yards be but almost share President John Dramani Mahama smoke nation the length and the crown and the kesiena. I say wakofa mbadi because a man that me 4 years, next 6 years, more hono. And this President John Dramani Mahama besro mo no more president ni share suit. No kwashe batakai the next them say ni refi ne yere atade e na osi mu anadwo we hu e na chese okofa share ya odi ababe chem tenne o ma start say o mo yeden o mo esre ya ye mampani. Now him say I didn't know say Ghanaians really love the president to this extent because Oko X and some of the social media platforms are said there Ghana for atiegu Zambia for so no just omuchem say Zambians are still in the archaic era because any biaba sebe other countries like even US, UK, like Canada, Italy, all these countries are right now recognizing the customs and traditions of the West Africans, no, and Africa as a whole, no. Now, they don't even know what is happening when it comes to custom and tradition. And we've gotten a lot of people who reacted to this whole Zambian mocking of our president John Dramani Mahama.
Yes, a whole lot of reactions and now quickly we have one of them on your screens. Zambians mock President Mohamed's Fugu, ignorantly describe it as blouse, but Ghanaians educate them. And then I'm starting and I make say and there will be a teacher and as a facilitator Ghana has a lot of people are trying to school the Zambians as to what's the significance of Fugu President John Dramani Mahama President John Mahama is currently on a 3-day state visit to Zambia where he is engaging in diplomatic meetings. Social media reactions overshadowed his official engagements as Zambians mocked his traditional Ghanaian attire, the Fugu. The Fugu is a symbol of pride, heritage in northern Ghana, was misunderstood by some Zambians who likened it to a woman's blouse. And I know a lot of people are talking about it. Now, people were talking about the fact that before I go here with the Maya Dieno, and also had a reaction by because okay, said and see I show speed be PM Ghana Hano with the Maya share Fuguni Biano at the air koto. And before I go here with the Maya Dieno, people were saying, say, on 1 year, just saw more presidents in Muma share Bronia Tade.
Yeah,
our boss was suit and tie. We are getting away, we boss suit and tie. As compared to Ghana's president, now I share Fugu and known from a film Kama. As sounds which a symbol of pride and heritage. Ghana has say still now no I'm said the Zambia for no or more adrenaline still now they are still being colonized by or more men kind of say or more colonial masters. Is that how you see it?
Well, I think that the Zambians are still being colonized because people are embracing one country, they embrace so much more tradition and custom. Kenya, Kenya, even their dressing and everything depicts their their culture. And Ausha President John Dramani Mahama, he hails from the north. And I show Fugu akwaye northern. I mean, you can the various tribes in Ghana and they omo intade a omo sha. Oh, you can the northern part. We I can say we identify them with the smoke, the Fugu. It's a president is trying to know. And I'll share. Let me go back to Ekufuado's time, or the BB by say where Africa eats Africa. Every like where Ghana eats Ghana, dress Ghana, like BBA Ghana. You get it? And it's an initiative. I just say it's high time. I was see like colonialism ni omo de be share ye kon though. Right now we are doing hybridization, like we are trying to blend ye culture no any omo dear no thanks to globalization. But it shouldn't be something say you be fun entirely. And that is what Zambians are trying to lack, and they are not schooling themselves. It's not Ghana for school yomono. Say minye sure say Kenyan president John Dramani Mahama beko akoshiano She Fugu will see the people of Kenyan mocking Ghanaian president for wearing a smock. Ain't see that.
Exactly what I was saying. Say on the other side, say Ghana and our president be by because you woman na no motion. Quite to say Scottish way of dressing. Scotland for dressing. Even as we speak now, they still skirts is I think it is a blouse was saying emotional. They still wear it in Scotland. They still wear it. And almost currently, some of the pictures that we saw na omo president ni shebi ewo ehonum. But then ebi mo ka echiremu the African continent na say eya failing because African free trade na buy no eya na nke etimi makwan enema ni be from Ghana timi ko Zambia for enema timi ko at least ka by now no ko matimi ehu say this particular atade no ya atade bi a Ghana for ehye ewo Ghana ha say na unse Zambia for na some president omo very first president Kenneth Kaunda.
Okay.
When him said they got independence somewhere in 1964. And Zambia for nya independence. Enti Ghana nya independence kwa ja omunti sa colonialism ne ha won betimi age omo ho afri omo abroad nsem no. It was here in Ghana has in America say omo ebesua. But before that we'll go back to history. But then here are some of the reactions some of the Ghanaians omo ho no maba. This is from Udimaya. I'll say, dear Zambians, the outfit worn by our president is not a blouse. It is a Ghanaian traditional attire known as Fugu, also called Batakari. Our president is internationally promoting the local garment industry both within and beyond our borders. Unlike your president, whose suit is not African, it is unfortunate that many of you, despite having access to smartphones and the internet, still choose to remain ignorant. And Tina Otremwa, until say, as in this age, and the very first thing, and you can take picture, go on Google, post the picture there, and Google will talk about it and tell you say a honey free and that's a honey free. So more reactions coming from some renowned Ghanaians, but also your screens so we John Dumelo so there or see dear Zambia, I am coming with my Fugu aka blouse and the aka no atwa so home. We also every thank you Tahiru or your sports presenter. Also the need about say how can Zambians call this a blouse? And you know a number of men or more asheshe or more blouse. And president himself was called the chene kahun. Say or chena kahun inti or one
blouse.
This is another reaction. See we are Zambia for dressing it that me say right. And our President John Dramani Mahama and also Eda left. So how can you compare these two dressing way catch obedience
blouse?
Where you know I share a green yellow and a blue be akujina and Chenya Zambia for almost kind of Scottish way of dressing omo hunu ye no. Eno na share obi awasa share a red. Comparing it to President John Dramani Mahama, see, it's clear why Zambians are confused by our Fugu. They've mistaken a symbol of presidential power for a blouse because they are used to seeing their leaders in waistcoats and skirts, a relic from their colonizers. We are not the same. Yes, indeed, we are not the same. What do you say about this picture on our screens?
Picture, it's saying a whole lot of things. I mean, it's telling us why. Zambia, say idea you are not prone to when you see it for the first time, you have your own perception and ideas about it. And your mom, I should say Fugu na kasomu. They don't even know what it is, but they should have kept quiet rather than calling it a blouse. What you say?
Okay, well, so every tourism or side ho ena eba, and she also hello Zambia. And she say we will target Zambia for 15. Our traditional attire represents our identity, history, and self-respect. It is not backwardness; it is confidence. Great African leaders have always embraced their culture with pride. Kwame Nkrumah wore African clothes while declaring we are capable of managing our own affairs. Thomas Sankara promoted local dressing and production. Julius Nyerere upheld African values. Nelson Mandela popularized African inspired Madiba shirts globally. None of them needed Western approval to lead. Today, Africa's combined GDP is about $2.8 trillion, far below that of the US, China, or Europe, despite our population and resources. This is partly because we still look outward for validation, markets, and solutions instead of building strong and internal systems. Africa must wake up. We must trade among ourselves, produce what we consume, add value to our resources, respect our culture, and project pride in who we are. Development starts with mindset. Culture is power, identity is strength, self-belief is development. My opinion, Mr. Tourism Abeku Santana so dia odia bana ono ne dia no timi say baby odia fa no we're schooling almost into the fact say you have to embrace your own. Omo hu ne say nenka wo say nko no so ba no ko on share on share something to say ono so more tie coat suit and tie. Now I was talking about the fact that it seems they are not learning from their past.
Yeah.
When their president, their very first president, Ghana Han because Kwame Nkrumah, ono no ba Ghana Han ebesua de o.
Okay.
Before omunya independence in 1964, and you Kenneth Kaunda, that was our first president. Obetna so eji foundie de ma omo from the British. Enti odwe ho a won ti ase say all of a sudden simple ebeden ya jai president so won she blouse on famra omo honom. I don't know say omo who said President John Dramani Mahama ko pie mu ho no ama omo din no anase Zambia kro na ngasa agidin. Instead of them to start capitalizing on President John Dramani Mahama pie mu ho no, look at what they are doing.
They're rather selling Ghana because they say ama everybody is coming out. I mean, she posted Abeku Santana he posted himself in a fugu.
The post ni bio na say producer be hu dia to so no.
A friend is saying Dumelo he posted himself in a fugu.
Fugu, yeah.
The Tahiru guy also posted himself in fugu.
Yeah.
And gradually it's like we are selling ourselves in a way because Obia highlighting on the attire where it is coming from. It is to say oko internet and so now Fugwa, everybody knows that it is from Ghana, and this is one way that me can say we are advertising Ghana or we are selling Ghana to the world, to Africans. Anybody that is following this Zambian and Ghana issue who say indeed like Ghana to yes so I mean locally produced garments yes so betimi arokia de bia enkoye tie ni suit say ne wa shoot next time ba she fugu na fa betena ase
measure me dey
what you say. So that is all about it. So I think that in as much as Zambians were trying to mock our president, you say epunu bisa fatimi bi asembi epunu what you say.
Say me timu say omo ye garments omo pam fugu ni sanema no omo be start ya cash out because a lot of people are requesting so benya fugu ni bi ashe. A lot of people me aminim omo tonton sanema bi wo industrial area ho say anopai me hu omo ana omo ko ho no ma like I mean people were just trying their best omo so benya fugu ni bi ashe ewo eho no
photographers so benya ska
omo so benya ska. Now let's look at this. Ebi mu still na no mu hu ne say as a Zambia for no omo ani bie wo form kakra because all of a sudden say obekasa bibi afa two presidents or meshia omo din komo no is it more important so obeka omo ntade o ma hye ho asem rather than the mean can say the diplomatic positive outcome ebeba no ebi won say still na as Zambia for no omo ne bi wo from odwo say
yeah well we can say from what is happening no can say mampani bi free ne mind so ababesra more president, and definitely there will be something more important and tangible but they chose to talk about a blouse, and I make us say they're talking about it and they say they've not seen some before because if you know what it is you wouldn't even target as blouse in the first place. And I'm sure Zambia is not the first country President John Dramani Mahama ashe fugu ede akoda me just say was share a couple of places. We
yes,
never
recent UN year or call
exactly UN, like United Nations. It has a lot of nations there. My who say Kurobia betro say Mampenina kwashe a friend is saying blouse and say bibi. So that is what Wudimaya was saying. Say they don't surf through the internet. They are not learning. They are not trying to know history from other say countries, other states, because here I Ghana high anye ye krano. We are some way somehow knowledged about and near maybe a coso in some of the countries like Kenya, Rwanda, Nigeria. Some of the countries are HIM. So Zambians, they are being more like illiterate or something. Yes.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I mean, a lot of reactions and idea more hopa or Twitter and this is another reaction now. And also by also, dear Zambians, history is barely wrong. Zambia is one of the few countries where the native people vigorously opposed their own leaders for fighting for independence. And see, make us na omu a free honum a bagana no. It wasn't just because they came to learn, but then omuagasa within them, they were not even happy. Say omu presidents and as omu current presidents, but try so beje omu mainu esihuamu. So I don't know how they vigorously opposed their own leaders for fighting for independence. Most of their freedom fighters were hosted, educated, and trained in Ghana on how to emancipate their people and gain independence. In fact, the penultimate meeting by the respected Kenneth Kaunda before his independence march was held in Accra. The facts are there. And also, most of their freedom fighters hosted, yes, they are kind of that. So, yes, and also, but it seems the long walk freedom has had little effect on consciousness for many. Some of you have a remarkable talent for being unenlightened. If the Malay president visited Korea in an attire strange to Koreans, they would simply make use of the internet to acquire new information and not ridicule. This is what exactly Ghanaians are trying to tell them. Say, I mean, this is not the time. Say, obesity will be. Find out what the person is wearing. Say, ding. So that you can also add it to your archives. When some of these clothes are well respected in the Western world. No be say so unya sa broni binya sa fuguni bi edisha edi konu kroma onu nani age. So I don't know say if the Malay president visited Korea in an attire strange to Koreans, they would simply make use of the internet to acquire new information and not ridicule. But I understand the difficulty also that the lack of internet access therefore in many places in Zambia. It is 2026 years plus 2 months of growth, not a time to belittle another African of their culture, especially for a country that has no history of friendly banter with us. Sorry, we are only in that accord with Nigeria. It's in I mean, and then we 2026, and yet I find our Oba Church will be because of the culture. No, Sanya Manon Kayadi and Kachum. If you 1-on-1, if you meet Obina Washata, Debina Wanga Sound Tiasa, Kojana baby, and Cosreno. Fortunately, Ghana signed a visa-free agreement with your country yesterday, just like your foremost leaders. We invite us Zambians from Kitwe, Chingola, Chipata and the Copper Belt to visit Ghana and learn. To learn about Africa, to learn about heritage, to learn that a suit and tie is rather stranger to the continent, not Fugu. And more importantly, to learn why Kwame Nkrumah, the man named after one of the topmost universities in Zambia, embarked on a journey 70 years ago to cure the sort of ignorance exhibited today and yesterday. There's a reason past and present Ghanaian leaders rock the Fugu even on the biggest international stages without apology. We are proud and we are an example of how to be African. We preserve and protect our history. For instance, if we shared borders with Zimbabwe, we would have owned the Victoria and not lose it to them. Agreed. Now, you can place an order for Fugu, a culturally significant garment from Ghana, and I mean you can also rock it a honum. So this is another reaction one of the renowned Ghanaians almost. But now let me ask this: do you think African Union are failing because some of these Schengen visas easily moving from one European country to another European country, it helps them to get acquainted with each other country's culture. But Africa hanentisa, before you can cross you can't easily access other countries to even have a feel of their culture. Do you think that African Union are failing in some way?
Well, I wouldn't agree on it totally, so my failure. But the whole idea is that we are in a digital and a technological world. And the technology, if I don't travel to China, I can still know about all the towns and a lot of things about Chinese and not the friend saying China without even being there. You can know it, like have the knowledge about the place, have knowledge about certain things. Opa, yenko Google, yenko search maybe the tribes in Ghana and their outfits and their food. You get it with even images. But then oba oko krono so and say you are just going to have a feel. Do you get it? There is a difference between having the knowledge and having a feel of it. So you can have the knowledge by googling, by searching, but as Sadiq Adam said, internet crisis so Zambia for. So that means that they are really lacking. Leaders they have to up their games and then forget about this whole you can't say colonialism and colonial masters and then fight and develop a friend is saying their country, because indirectly because African countries are developing, but we've not gotten anywhere. If you've been at there's Zambia for you, you're developing, and I'm not sure Zambians will be doing this and be mocking other people's culture. You understand?
Yes. And President Kwame Nkrumah at time while this above we by new colonialism. Na kwesi ko enso so gina nkwanti a ono ana sa kire wo de obedi de obehye ene de obeti omo ka enkofo inform adwumam we mu form adwumam ene ade yade a Africans ankasa we are trying say e be de ho freely from ye me kan say ye colonial masters yi na ohwe Zambia for the it looks as if still na they are attached to it, because Scottish dressing no me sure say there's a culture in Zambia at least and go metimi the ababo ntiama no so abegidin Scottish dressing who say that presidents ne kwan so ayeden ahyebi. Do you think say they will ever learn? Because the SC actually say omo make tianga say omo egu omo nimu say on the internet and the power. Do you think that they will ever change from this?
Well, it would take time. Like changes is a constant thing. It would take time until we are just hoping they can change. But then in the meeting, the foreign affairs minister Wabekasa about the outcome of the president ne toa odi kopiem Zambia no de bae no odi aba betudwa yenko na nkutie no.
The first time in the history of Ghana-Zambia relations, we are going to have a free visa between our two countries. So you no longer have to stress about visas. So we are going to have a visa waiver agreement, and it is one of the conditions that President Mahama gave us for this visit. He said, Foreign Minister, if you don't make this happen, don't join me on this visit. So Chief Director will tell you, whilst I was in Latvia, I was on her, she was chairing the technical committee meetings. I told her that you know the directive. So I'm told that it was, because we have three kinds of passports. They have only two, diplomatic and then ordinary passports. So they didn't see how, they said we are not aligned because we have diplomatic, service and ordinary passports. But we told them there is a presidential directive. If you want our president to be here and you want his wishes to be granted, then you have to make sure that we reach this deal. And at 11:30 p.m. last night, they reached out to their president, and he said, if it's my brother's wish, I'm going to grant you. So we have the visa waiver agreement. This will bring the number to 15 visa waiver agreements since President Mahama was sworn into office.
Ebusia na chese ye sore ensem wei eso dia na ye kwa akopie mu ewo Libya arehosem a esi ewo Libya no chese eye former and late president a owo eye Libya mechire eye Gaddafi sabre ono ane ba bema ba akope the babema ba kope sebe be can say o can mama man who there, but then that guy has a history with Libya arewosema atono and they say
first time in the history of Ghana Zambia relations we are going to have a free visa between our two countries. So you no longer have to stress about visas. So we are going to have a visa waiver agreement. And it is one of the conditions that President Mahama gave us for this visit. He said, Foreign Minister, if you don't make this happen, don't join me on this visit. So Chief Director will tell you, whilst I was in Latvia, I was on her, she was chairing the technical committee meetings. I told her that you know the directive. So I'm told that it was because we have three kinds of passports. They have only two, diplomatic and then ordinary passports. So they didn't see how, they said we are not aligned because we have diplomatic, service and ordinary passports. But we told them there is a president.
Ebusiane MPMO ewo Libya arehosem as esi ewo ho enese former meka say former and late president Muammar Gaddafi ayenyina yenim no I mean Gaddafi because of the history he has with Libya. The Ato Gaddafi Ebusia and his son Echemuse nipa bonifuo bi akwakoto ahye ne so ekum no ewo Libya ya enyasem ketwa. And apparently said the ensem ni esi how events happened no na che say owenifie in his house according to reports free Libya eba no etwem say the son of Muammar Gaddafi no wenifie I mean, it's not like he was outside or anywhere. He was in his house. So that is the guy we're talking about. And I just say, nipa bonifuo bi etoshe ne so a womo agene nkwa efri ne nsem ya. Now this guy has a lot of history in Libya as a whole because of the dad and the contributions one way or the other no will make it Libya minu emu. And today it's sad that he has been murdered in his own house at age 53, which is a very sad one. Inti Usha screens so I says son of former Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi shot dead. So it says despite holding no official position, Saif al-Islam Gaddafi was once seen as the most powerful figure in the oil-rich North African country after his father, who ruled for more than 4 decades. So the Abrantiano, we know him as Saif al-Islam Gaddafi. Yechemu said because of his father, he was very, very powerful. And he said this man ruled Libya for over 4 decades. Saif didn't hold any position. No minister or no he held literally no governmental position or even no position at all. But then he was very powerful. And you know that some of the powers transcend from your predecessors, from the family you are coming from. And he being a Gaddafi, that should tell you say this guy held on to certain things in Libya, and in our man people really were scared of him. But then it's quite unfortunate that he had passed at an is there an early age or
no, not
53?
Really.
But he's still not alive. If life begins at 40, we're trying with 13 people.
Yes. So Saif al-Islam Gaddafi it's quite unfortunate that we've lost him. So what we have on our screens is a report from Sky News. Son of former Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi shot dead. Despite holding no official position, Saif al-Islam was once seen as the most powerful figure in the oil-rich North African country after his father, who ruled for more than 4 decades. So this is the reports coming in from Sky News, and it continues to read: Saif al-Islam, the son of Libya's late dictator Muammar Gaddafi, has been shot dead by gunmen who broke into his home, officials have said. The 53-year-old was killed during a direct confrontation with 4 armed men in the Libyan town of Zintan, southwest of the capital Tripoli, his office said in a statement on Tuesday. His lawyer, Khalid al-Zaidi, and separately his advisor, Abdullah Othman Abdul Rahim, both confirmed his death on Facebook without providing details. So this is what we are having from Sky News, talking about the death of Gaddafi's son, who reportedly didn't hold any position in his government. But then from some sources also, so let's continue from here. The 53-year-old was killed during a direct confrontation with 4 armed men in Libyan town. His lawyer, Khalid Zaid, I think this one has been read already, so we can move up small. Despite holding no official position, the second son of the long-time dictator was once seen as the most powerful figure in the oil-rich North African country after his father, who ruled for more than 4 decades. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi shaped policy and was involved in high-profile diplomacy, including talks on weapons of mass destruction and compensation for the families of those killed in the bombing of Pan AM Flight 103 over Lockerbie in Scotland in 1988. So that is the report from Sky. So educated at the London School of Economics and a fluent English speaker, he was once seen by many governments as the acceptable Western-friendly face of Libya. But when a rebellion broke out against his father's regime in 2011, he became an architect of a brutal crackdown on rebels. After fighters took over the capital, he was captured attempting to flee to neighboring Niger about a month after his father was hunted down and shot dead by rebels. So this is more of about Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, the son of Muammar al-Gaddafi. So we'll continue and then give more updates on this particular incident. So quite unfortunate. In 2015, a Libyan court sentenced him to death for war crimes. He was also wanted by the International Criminal Court, accused of crimes against humanity. He spent 6 years detained in the town of Zintan. It was a far cry from the charmed life he had lived during his father's rule, when he had pet tigers and mingled with high society on trips abroad. He was released by the militia in 2017 under an amnesty. So this is, I think, more of Gaddafi's son, who has been reportedly shot dead in his home. Now, some other reports, I don't know if we are done with this write-up. Some other reports were also saying that he was shot on the borders of Algeria. Per some confrontations that they made. So I think probably we'll find them in this one. In 2021, he attempted to run for president, but was opposed by many who had suffered at the hands of his father's rule. He was also disqualified from the election because of his 2015 conviction. His candidacy became a point of contention, and the election process stalled amid arguments between powerful armed groups. So yes, in 2021, he tried to also become the president of Libya. In an interview with the New York Times magazine in 2021, he discussed his political strategy. I've been away from the Libyan people for 10 years, he said. You need to come back slowly, like a striptease. You need to play with your minds a little. So that is what the son of Gaddafi said. Libya remains deeply divided, with rival administrations in the east and west after the nations descended into anarchy following the fall of Muammar Gaddafi's regime. The former dictator was killed by opposition fighters during the uprising, which turned into a civil war most of his 8 children had significant roles in government. So, yes, quite a sad one coming in from Libya. Yes. So, as I was saying, at a point where when they asked his sister, he said he was actually killed on the borders between between Libya and Algeria. Then his lawyers and his advisors are also saying something different, saying he was killed in his home by an unknown gunman, 4 of them. So you can't really tell, because people feel he still has that kind of, his father's spirit in him, because in 2021 he was rejected to even stand in to be elected to become the president.
And that's the second son.
Yes, and that's the second son. At age 53, he still has the potential to lead to lead Libya. So people have this feel that the same people who went after his father and toppled him, killed him, are the same people who went after Islam, Gaddafi, and it's very sad. Very sad.
It's a very sad Libya. One. Yeah. Coming at this point, and it's quite unfortunate. Gaddafi being murdered, and then his son also being murdered. It's like history is trying to repeat itself.
Yes, so you see, at a point where Gaddafi was being chased up and down, people were trying to just get hold of him, assassinate him, dethrone him from being the president of Libya. At a point in time, you see, in as much as the son wasn't holding any prominent position in government, in what we read, it was stating that he was holding high-profile meetings. At a point where Libya were sanctioned, internationally or globally, let me put it that way, they were sanctioned because they were running some atomic bombs that they were preparing. At a point, he had to hold some meetings, so his father will put it at a halt. And with this, they were able to release themselves, or release the Libya government economically from most of these trade tariffs that they were hit with. And as we also read, it was stating that he had the opportunity to meet high-profile people because of his father. So you can see that some way, somehow, he was very influential in his father's regime. And there are a lot of things that he may know that we don't know. That probably the opposition, they are not aware of it, or the sitting government currently in Libya, they are not aware of it, and all that. And they
are seeing him more like a threat.
Yes, they see him more like a threat, because there is no relation to, he was out, and we all saw that he wanted to come in and probably stand during the elections to become president. He was saying that he's been away for like 10 years, and he has to find his way gradually or slowly into the minds of the people of Libya, so he can get to know whether he will be accepted or not. So clearly you could see he was finding his way to the topmost office of Libya, and unfortunately they decided to take him down, because we can't allow you to come and then continue your father's legacy. But
he's not the only child of Gaddafi.
But he was very influential in his father's regime.
Okay.
During his father's regime, he was very influential. For you to be able to hold meetings, so economic or let's say trade tariffs that were hit by the foreigners or the Western world, you were able to talk to them so they can remove the tariffs. And it was stated that he was the face of the Western world during his father's regime. This tells you that every communication coming in from the Western world went through him. Do you understand? So you can't really tell, because now you can't ditch your father for the Western world. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So when you come back and you are speaking with your father as the president of Libya, you know how you present your case, you know how, or the best action that you would want your father to take. Do you understand? So some of all these ideas, all these things they talked about, how best probably they can, thwart all the plans of the Western world, he still has it. Do you understand? So someone like this, the moment you come out and make moves to become president, or to lead Libya, because imagine the son of Gaddafi is back to lead Libya.
That's like Gaddafi 2.0.
Yes, 2.0. Just the return of Muammar al-Gaddafi. So yes, this is what people didn't want. And you know, it was during the time of President Obama that they assassinated President Gaddafi.
Yeah.
And even right after that, President Obama came out and made it public that this was one of the worst decisions he has ever made as president. But then currently, you know, in as much as he was toppled, he was killed, still out there in the Western world, they wouldn't be happy to see the Gaddafi's son come back
like a replica.
to ascend the throne. So a lot of people are relating this to the United States, the people who were behind his father's death. They are still relating, they are still relating it to the United States of America.
That they might have a hand.
Allegedly, they might have a hand in the death of Islam, Gaddafi. So a lot of people are talking, and they are so much into this particular issue, trying to find out who these gunmen were. What was their mission in the man's house? He's 53, 7 years to 60, and he's still capable of leading Libya. So what exactly were they looking out from him that they had to go to his house and, shoot him?
And is the house story even true, as per other narratives are also coming out concerning his death? So right now it's more like we don't really know the truth about how he died.
His blood sister is saying that he was killed on the borders of
Algeria
and then Libya. Then the other side, people that are close to him are also saying he was killed in his home. Do you understand? So you see, sometimes when there is an issue like this, you may see it as something very simple, but then your very first utterances, the things that you say from the beginning, will also, will put you out there. Do you understand? For people to find out, what really happened. So you need to know how to, plot your things, know what to say at the very beginning of the incident. So that is why now we have two different sources telling two different, incidents prior to the death of Islam al-Gaddafi. Quite unfortunate and very sad for Libya.
Yes, it's quite unfortunate and it's very sad. Now let's move on to other stories still on the Americans. We've seen that when you come to Africa, we have Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger forming the Sahel state, and these people are coming out stronger each day because they have the backings of the Russians. But then we are hearing that Americans have some of their executives and officers trying to speak with one of the Sahel states to have some kind of diplomacy conversation with them. And this is for a reason, which I know so well, that Americans going down to the Sahel states like Niger and the rest, and they have all these countries lined up. It's something they've planned. From this country we are moving to this country, from this country we are moving to this country. So as we can see on the screens, this is from the Bureau of African Affairs. It says senior bureau officer official Nike Checker is traveling to Bamako to convey the United States' respect for Mali's sovereignty and desire to chart a new course in the bilateral relationship and move past policy missteps. The United States look forward to discussing next steps for enhancing U.S. Mali cooperation and consulting with other governments in the region, including Burkina Faso and Niger, on shared security and economic interests. So this is what we are gathering, and as you can see on the screens, it says America returns to the Sahel as top U.S. official heads to Mali for reset talks. What are they going to reset? So let's dive deeper. It says the United States is taking cautious steps to re-engage Mali's military-led government, signaling a pragmatic shift in Washington's Africa policy as geopolitical competition in the Sahel intensifies. So Chris, we are gathering that the Americans are heading to Sahel, Mali to be specific, with Burkina Faso, Benin in mind. What are the Americans trying to do?
Well, so for the very first thing that came in mind is, recently we brought a report where the U.S. department or the defense minister or secretary of war, P.T. Hegseth, went to Nigeria. Now, before America can assess the northern part of Nigeria, they have to go through the Sahel regions. Do you understand? So that is one of the reasons why they are going there, to have a diplomatic talks with them, so they can be able to assess their airspace, so they can go to Nigeria, the northern parts of Nigeria. On the other hand, they were talking about minerals, the minerals that they have to, have this kind of talks with them, so they can realign themselves in order to get access to some of these minerals. And mind you, the Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, they are now having a security arrangement with Russia.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So now, just as it was happening in Greenland, President Donald Trump won't allow Russia to have access to these countries where he will not be able to have access to. Do you understand? So all these minerals, all these security, routes, their operations, their itineraries, where they would want to pass and all that. Once Russia has, their hands on these countries, there's no way President Trump and his military can use any route through the Sahel states. Do you understand? So because of that, President Donald Trump has to quickly move in to Bamako. I'm sure he'll still go to Burkina Faso, he'll go to Niger as well. So these are some of the three reasons I can state the reason why the Americans are trying to take
so let's
over
try
Sahel.
reading, please. Let's scroll up. So as we've already said, Americans are returning to the Sahel states, and there is a reason. It says that the United States is re-engaging with Mali's military-led government in response to geopolitical competition in the Sahel. So that's one point. It says the U.S. Bureau of African Affairs expressed intentions of diplomatic recalibration, emphasizing respect for Mali's sovereignty. Mali's security partnerships have shifted towards Russia, forming a key bloc in the alliance of Sahel states. The U.S. strategic re-engagement is driven by Mali's critical mineral resources and its significant role in global supply chains. So what are we looking at here? Why are they trying to outplay? I feel like they're trying to outplay the Malians and the rest of the other countries.
Well, we'll say they are trying to outplay Russia.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
Okay.
They are trying to outplay Russia because you see, just as I said, it is happening in Greenland. President Donald Trump won't sit down for you to take over some of these regions, especially in Africa here. Okay. Do you understand? So that is why some of all these things are happening. Mali is, I think, the second largest producer of gold, I think, in Africa here, and being the second largest producer of gold and some other minerals, definitely the United States would want to have a hand in it other than Russia. Okay.
So it says, according to a statement from the U.S. Bureau of African Affairs on X, senior bureau official Nick Checker is traveling to Bamako to convey Washington's respect for Mali's sovereignty and its desire to chart a new course in the bilateral relationship after past policies misstep. The visit comes at a sensitive moment. Mali, alongside Burkina Faso and Niger, forms the alliance of Sahel states, a bloc that has formally broken away from ECOWAS and reoriented security partnerships towards Russia. So it's all about Russia. If Russia is going to take over, then we Americans have to step in.
Definitely.
Okay. So it says, historically, the United States has maintained a hard line against military coups, often responding with sanctions, aid suspensions, and diplomatic isolations. Mali's repeated coups since 2020 would, under normal circumstances, place it firmly outside Washington's comfort zone. So it says, why Washington is re-engaging Mali? U.S. re-engagement with Mali is strategic, economic, and security interest rather than a softening of Washington's stance on military rule. Mali is one of Africa's leading gold producers and holds reserves of lithium and uranium, placing it at the center of the global race for critical minerals. So as Chris stated earlier, there are lots of benefits the US can get from the Malians. It says, as the United States seek to reduce dependence on Chinese-controlled supply chains and counter Russia's growing role in Mali's extractive sector, renewed diplomatic engagement has become a strategic necessity. Security considerations are equally central. Mali sits within a Sahelian corridor that directly affects U.S. counterterrorism operations across West Africa. Although U.S. forces withdrew from Mali in 2022, American intelligence network continue to monitor militant movements across the region. Mali's geographic position links instability in Burkina Faso and Niger in northern Nigeria, where U.S.-backed intelligence cooperation support efforts to track and disrupt extremist groups. Engagement with Bamako therefore support Washington's broader Sahel security architecture rather than signaling approval of military governance. So it's more or less like they are not really in support of the military rule, but for our own gains, let's try and then get along with these guys. That's more like it. Yeah. So it says it also reflects a wider U.S. effort to regain strategic ground in Africa after President Donald Trump's aid cut reduced American influence and created openings for rival powers, offering fewer political conditions. And see, this is quite interesting. Do you think the Malians are going to give in to this whole talk and all that, knowing that there is an ulterior motive behind this engagement that the US is trying to make with them?
Well, it was quite unfortunate they had to go straight to Mali. These kind of talks should have started from Burkina Faso. Should have started with Ibrahim Traoré.
Okay.
Because now Ibrahim Traoré is the leader of the AES.
Okay.
So, but to bypass Burkina Faso and go to Mali, it's a no-no.
Okay.
If President Putin doesn't allow Ibrahim Traoré to agree to this, there's nothing. It goes nowhere. Do you understand? So you see how they started. They are trying to tell you they respect your sovereignty. They will try to make you feel big.
Yes.
Make you feel as if you are a co-equal with the United States of America, but it's not like that.
Because of their gains.
It is because of their own gains. So because Russia is coming in, they just don't want them to have power over these countries. So they will start with them one after the other. You saw they wrote Niger in it.
Yeah.
They will go to Niger. They have started in Bamako. They will go to Niger. They will find a way to go to Ouagadougou and all that. So the best thing that they should have done was to start from Burkina Faso. Do you understand? So it's quite an interesting time ahead of us as to how they are going to take this news, because for all you know, we will see Russia and US forces in the AES. That is where it is heading to. Do you understand? That is where it is heading to. Any part of the world that Russia would want to put their hands on, US doesn't want to allow that to happen. So that is the most interesting part of the whole story.
Okay, so we have some comments coming up. This is Mimi. It says that it's time to shut down all U.S. embassies in Africa. We do not depend on them, nor do we need anything from them. Too many. They symbolize a new form of colonialism rather than genuine partnership. In practice, they function less as diplomatic missions and more as small military and intelligence outposts. So this is what Mimi is saying. Indabia says Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, don't allow them. Soon it will be cool. They are very dangerous, these ones. This is Abdul Jali. It says that Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali do not need America. Okay, so another person says AES states do not have brainless puppets as heads of states. You banned them from coming to your country. They reciprocated. Keep it that way. The US has nothing but war and death to give to the world. Blackman says, please advise Senior Bureau official Nick Checker to kindly not waste his time. Africans, especially people of the Sahel states, have figured out how evil the United States is. There is no bilateral relationship with the United States. So you could see that a lot of people are not in support of the Sahel states giving into the demands of the United States only in the name of diplomacy and respect for sovereignty, and we are not against. They are making it like they are not even against the military regime that is happening in the Sahel states, and that's like they are trying to be smart. You know, they want to outplay Russia, but then they are trying to be smart with their moves. But then Captain Ibrahim Traoré and the heads of states for these Sahel states are also smart, like someone said. It's not like they are puppets. That these are military officials, let me put it that way, that have overthrown presidents to come and take charge, and you want to outsmart them by trying to respect them. And the word respect is what is taking dominion of all this US, their next move and all that. But then we are still interested to know the outcome. Me, I'm interested. I don't know for you, but I'm personally interested in the outcome of what is going to come out from this whole meeting. They said Nick Checker shouldn't waste his time, but then the thing is, he will still go, right? Yes,
yeah, definitely he will still go. Nothing so, good, I think, will come out of it. Yes.
So that is it. We'll keep our viewers updated about this whole issue, how the conversation and the engagement is going to take place. But like Chris said, bypassing Ibrahim Traoré to go to Mali is just a waste of time. And even if he had gone to Burkina Faso, we know that it wasn't going to have a positive result. But then somebody will say that there is no harm in trying your luck.
You know, it is very good that people of African descent and even people in Africa here, they are beginning to understand how some of these things work.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because it is through someone currently in Ghana here, they want to change Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport because they feel
Kotoka has a bad history.
Yes, history. Who collaborated with the Westerners to overthrow Nkrumah and all that. Do you understand? So now people are beginning to understand some of these things. Have you noticed most Ghanaians are not really talking about it? They feel like, I mean, it's fine. Why should I build an airport and you came to overthrow me? They've named your name after the airport. Do you understand? So people in Africa are beginning to understand how some of these things work, and they know that is how they start.
Okay.
Because they know they can't go straight to the Supreme. Let's start from somewhere. Do you understand? They couldn't get access to Nkrumah. They couldn't tell him, do this, do that, and we'll also do this for you.
Okay.
He boldly told them, we can manage our own affairs. Okay. Do you understand? So if you can't get the head, find a way that you can get to the head. Do you understand? For all you know, they will start telling the Malian president, "Oh, we'll do this for you, we'll do that for you." They will start joining forces because they are close. They will start joining forces, go to Burkina Faso and conduct a coup, just as you said. Do you understand? So before you realize, all the work, all the efforts these head of states are trying to put in place to make their countries better will go in vain. Do you understand? So that is how the whole thing starts. That's why most of the people, some were Nigerians, people from Niger, some were Burkina Faso, people from Mali too came out, and they were saying they shouldn't agree to it. What other diplomatic talks do you have with them? When you took your forces away in 2022, you banned them from coming to your country. So what again do you want to have with them again? Do you understand?
So it's just for their gains.
I mean, one is just for their gains. Secondly, so they can have access to the northern part of Nigeria.
Yes. So if it's not for their profits or their gains, then what am I doing with Mali? You understand? And Mali, there you get it. So let's move on from this whole Mali issues and let's come back to Ghana. And Ghana. And one thing that people are talking about right now is the fact that we are seeing the appreciation of the cedi to the dollar. You say dollar cedi na hooding no to dollar no aye krabeshe. And I think so fuel prices are confirmed near their day. But then people are still complaining about a near my boy say adiano dollar na confirm so milk no na metono 15 cedis it is still 15 cedis. Sabe fuel yatete so me kofa ka say the ejeme sa na ejeme. I mean things are still the same and we are not seeing any significant change bia mo de dollar na no na one social media sensationalist Code Mickey ebe kasa say ono wahwemu an hunu say informso no emfree aban no emfree President John Dramani Mahama efree Ghadafi wo krodue mu hanum say ade no betimi ate so pa so my omadwen say daoda yente so eno mu mia so no mu de bi kan no mu bu ye kom so dollar na kofom na ensem we ya Code Mickey kan ye no ena che say another person me can say he's a political analyst any ade or so abekasa I found say Code Mickey njai de ochechere kra debi there is more to this thing that we know because say Code Mickey ka say Ghana for na ya onkan hunu say there are a lot of factors say be yebetumi ahwe what you say de beye this whole pricing and all that inti say Code Mickey person say it's just about the reduction in the appreciation of the cedi to the dollar no any reduction of fuel prices on can electricity yatum insuo yatum production of anything you can't produce anything without water without lights and all these things and also is a factor and prices and I don't know if you are siding with this political analyst and now you are siding with Code Mickey say truly it's the doing of the J4. But then before we go to the political analyst view yenko share Code Mickey nsema wode etuja
Code Mickey TV ni diem panti na business o mai mo person be tenie ma so ma dwene ho a mentiasi o we yanya man we mo first na mdwen say ya ban ne nko ba yan timamofo no ye ka bi na man no entumi nkoso just say you know ye tirimu posei ye tirimu posei dream ase ya adwene mo ma abro ase ya adwene mo ma e ka bi na man no we honorable ato forcing the year and the review die ese nipa ye minister ye bia na why to smoothing the system just a fuel prices at so okoto fuel affairs fuel be turn be 1,000 so me 700 cedi store why you betting tax a fuel why you cover tax a fuel e-levy ya year free ho kwa cedi no sikana appreciate first near complain say oh sikano ye cedi na ye week okofa niam wa akwantu mo ba so se cedi no so se cedi na e de $1 mo be we no nya dollar ketu bi so se cedi ni bebre enu tiro mo to niam bo say cedi no again in value and the reason being di and I stay now person be the niam so say adwene kro mo afa system ni mo no real say omo packaging no ma start the packaging ne so pure water say komunya nkom betumbo mo inzo mo tuma ni pa be kasante say o ma start teso say o mo e be duru baby o ma teso ma o top pure water na o package na ni kosua be pe na nkate ya kire 2 cedi adwene be no say so mo be so otoka because of the way our system ne tie be brain na prefer so o be sense kana $1 mo no mo akrakare fra brochiraba e no mo kraba so a e bo no wo fom kweka garage say wa so o be tete bo no so wa ton wo ma we mo no nipa ne pese o make it profit no befu once say o jiri profit ahodo o mine e nyina ye dia o e ye nyina ye dia where rent e duru afesona betua dan ka na nipa yem hyehyew o yem hyehyew obi o wasi e dan no be 15 years ni every year bia otum and to say what is the reason dollar no say cedi no again value appreciate against the foreign currencies fuel prices above from first we ka say bia dan sika no ogie scan share ni values e wo system ni mo say system no is the DNA the reason why and I say automatic so ma we dey see to niam mo sa yet niam boss o ma we manye ya na I feel say my politicians no cry attention sometimes I ne ye nti no mo so ye de o mo ye no because oh for say obey wa afom de ama niam a smooth was system no atemamfo na o ye so mo so private sector so mo so teniam so business sitting in Masuna boy in an omonia. I buy a tension. I said, also feels like Crawford crab, dear yeno, dear yeno, or more am I a changing a achieve anymore. No more started yet, you also almost ye. Or more started a junior more down. Of course, I generally say no, or you want to see. Cover taxes ye hotels and restaurants are still no only a print my on person of fetch and no so I buying a bow back catcher of the sea. Honorable at to forcing a mere president power no. Who's the president bow making promises by break betting tax power I say within the first 100 days, many I sorry it's 100 days near Baby Monetawe. To a power honorable at to forcing humanity as I said. Being the finance minister no or in the right eye. So I bind with my achieving the dreams are a fancy and a bejana so. Don't say man no. A juma time I saw a punk run as well a juma mo ye juma. Or the life at 2 so a boy juma a better near my up. Na afi achieve results ni say na see reflect to system ni na wo so we wa fam de ma Ghana ni eso fail so ni ma mu aye ahen ha ye na wo nya na e hwan fault nya abro ni adwenbone e be duru be ko na ni page sent honorable social life ni me hu video bi ko fikinata na o performance president anyone we say on the above 5 my president or president and you believe you man him to on the president pio on na we na asa na wo saka na ho na nim out mu say oh dwendwene niema about the economy almost omo a program or some call back to the office.
Abusia code Mickey the submissions and we making that a dreadful chrome ha and anymore. But this is what the political analyst is saying. He says, I chanced on a code Mickey video yesterday where he tried to explain why prices are still high, even though the dollar, fuel and inflation are all coming down. Honestly, it felt like he was bigging up government and at the same time blaming business and ordinary Ghanaians for being unreasonable with their prices. I don't think that's entirely fair. I think he missed the bigger picture. This is a national issue. And what a year Dr. Agent Kanyinani said could make in sema all kano about dollar ne swati fuel inflation swati ne ade but enyema boa eda so e wo so no chem say subuo na ode bo ye adwadifo ne adetonfo ne businessmen and women e wo krom ha say no it is not fair ye kan say enye yie because oma aban na is aban ne de ne ho so na adwadifo ne mom na enye nso ade na enye sa net. See, this issue is not about a few greedy traders. It's happening nationwide. Because the cost of doing business is still high. When you run a business, you don't only look at the dollar rate. You also pay for electricity, water, transport, rent, taxes, and wages. Electricity is up. Water is up. Transport is still high. Even locally produced goods depend on power and water. So how do you expect prices to suddenly crash just because fuel dripped a bit? And Dr. Jnr can say, kai wunu say sebe dollar so atia adwadifo ne businessmen no mo producing niema no omo yusu nsuo bo kosoro kanea bo kosoro transport said de tie na ena even post dollar akofema nipa no production ye fa ne say waje ba bia obetua rent wo soro obeto nsuo yatum obeto kanea yatum owi obetua to one cry ye income taxes ne the other people are also paying taxes at the municipal and the friend is saying metropolitan level enti ni nyina den e ka ho bi now utie ne nsema o kan so o say e ba ne saying and ultimately justify the fact that because friend is saying dollar any for aba for muntino and Nehemiah, you okay. That one is not possible. It says the real problem is that we are seeing now, the real problem that we are seeing now looks more like managed stability than real relief. If the city is being held down mainly by pumping forex into the system, it creates more headlines for government but doesn't fix the real economy. Macro numbers may look nice, but the micro economy, where people actually buy food and pay bills, doesn't feel it. And then Opache say, yeah, problem ne there wo ena ye share dollar no I say dollar na potency dollar na nya hoden no enye real like say oh dollar na nkasa na ye share economy ni ma femu ade bi dem I say ye push near pompi gum ena ama dollar na be den abeye sa eno sa no timamufo na ye wo mu na ye to ade ye didi ye koba ye to hye ne ade no ye ho fa ye experiences dollar ahoden ne de no according to Dr. Agent. So instead of chastising businesses and Ghanaians, we should be asking why electricity, water and production costs are so high. Until those come down, prices won't fall meaningfully. This isn't about people being wicked. It's about a system where stability is cosmetic and the real cost of living and doing businesses are still heavy. Chris, this is what Dr. Agent Eka. Medicam Busao, is it Code Mickey making a solid point or Dr. Agent bringing the obvious to the table?
Well, first of all, on the dollar, they meet me. I can say Abochi gets power because you see Abochi na dollar no one ho.
Okay.
Dollar na turn 10 cedis no. Oko banka winye biu. What I say? So 10 cedis dollar no, and it be 9 cedis near the no, and winye bi. But Oko Abochi wa obenya bi. But no, they any 10 cedis.
Okay.
But then, dear now, Dr. Ajin,
okay,
no. He was talking about micro and then the macro economics. You know, of Enamika Bibi say people have the feel said that the government is trying to please the international bodies. Every my books more fair. Okona kopebosia quickly at the bemau. Any day, big push. Jumaya Ghana hani people are praising the president because Yankobo Bosian will be near day internally. Sika ye wanna the big push agenda ne quine that they've been able to turn the whole country into a construction site.
Okay.
But then if you are able to please the numbers in the space of the macro economy now, the micro one, another Dr. Ajine can where the individual industries are feeling it. So me company, how am I able to fund the company? How am I able to pay my workers? How my production costs sign it here?
Okay.
Do you understand? These numbers that are appreciating the numbers for the macro economy won't affect the micro. Individually, they don't feel it. That is what Dr. Ajin is trying to say. In as much as Sena could make you a casa fase, omo ton near mano, omo na omo sa, omo entertain your masonia, deno. The doctor too is talking about the fact that what is happening internationally now. Oko baby, I say Ghana, a country as Obon Bosia, Obetimi Chia, any idea debt to GDP near day percentage. No said the air corner say Ghana, ye baby papa, Oboy Bosia, Betimi Chia, and Sani Mano. It doesn't affect Mammy Bia or take Brosan Cro. Oh, Mammy be Tividium. Any touchman crossing baby obite a down for and cannot, do you understand? Because the Ghana has still now says yeah Ghanaian light boss and papa nekano. These are the basic things. Most of the small businesses no more use the year more production yeah day. And it's another so how will the dollar affect them? Do you understand? Say niema ye import bagana hampo. And I'm most internally, say any money bedroom pones here, see the production, and as any bedroom here, see a better one, a could do obi shopper or no,
they are fuka, which ya
car what dia fro any shop or di kogu ye esi abo osa na ema no
store na waje
no ehu na I mean how he's running his business aside any ema wakofa de aba no is another cost. Do you understand?
Yes,
obede no ate so the amount. Enti papa no oboko dike echi se all kasa about a year omo tonton ne madwadifo all kasa say omo na ma yire ne emam wo ho no but then ono so ebo government echi se mo yesro ho ye no momra from ho so na mo mehwe na effect no efiri soro no emra from na timamuni so ehon to no. There's a reason why na president Akufo-Addo friend na do show boy so they ento aso.
Yes, and so said the omo kanu no. We are just hoping that the president, and then Abai will do the necessary things and work to help Ghanaians. And Abushia, that is about a year could make in Sema, okay, can ye any a year response if we there the political analyst a year Dr. Ajin Eho Abba. Now, ye be free, sir, in some way as so. Na ebusia yako ensem foforo so ye konsem foforo so a na ye boawura eye the NPP amanyoko no akache ye nyina ye hu de akoso e wo honom a Dr. Mahmoud Baumie di nkunima Kennedy Japan ni loser well lose no besin there people are trying to draw analysis to it say the wedi nkuko no omunyi ni second betimi a asa akasa hejajani ani breso wo party ni mu biem because say the warre no enwanwa nanso no me ne o ka say an expose or a revelation bia beton bonten so muchem say ken ria or re already musada kwa amayati ase say Brian champion ye but ye chemu a Brian the contest and as he contesting to the presidential flag bearership race no was for a reason womu chema na che say achim mafias for no womu strategy a no ompeso mu di bubu Kennedy Japan na press completely na sebe wontimi match Dr. Mahmoud Baumia because utie de Musa Dan kwakan no chemu say Brian is a refined version of Kennedy Japan and no and ama ene ken etimiare but echemu say it was a strategic plan. Now yenko tie sa ensem we endo musuko ye ba ye beto aso
kami we am ye o de Brian champion and be break Kennedy front because after first one Kennedy nya 30 something say 37 so whatever achimfo no hu say akwa no first one there be 38 to say 37 almost say Japan is becoming powerful. Now can Japan book na? There be after super delegates now neighbor me call yes. One second be powerful. And woman stop no e be ha wo mu. And we dey branch champo be wu mu. Every so ni boom. Say o ma Kennedy nkodi third. Na Kennedy ni bibia mra na wiye. And wo mu wiye no say Kennedy said the cancer can they pa they want to be MPP. Meaning say fast forward woman the Brian anybody me be pair na woman ko the general election sambom wo de nyamotre womu wia me si womu wia womu election womu win general election bibia no checho betuma we then we catch about me as a wabre. Let Brian take over. Now about him simple. I see. Eti Akufo-Addo no eja pade book na wo mo tro ya say nye no kre no. Enema bia me hwe bia koso se de book no kan pepepe.
Abusiafo na chese odike na kasem no chemu say achim mafia for book bia some time ago e beton bonten so about ejapade ni ade no say ejapade book no hopes na do yesi hu nkonwa bia mu e be ye conversation mu say enye no kre no chemu say this is an evidence of the achim mafias for normal plot into they say no they are hoping pa say the probability so betimi sideline napo ama Brian Champon abe running mate no very very high at the end of the day no we realize that say omoko this time around now far not to say ni epia Brian Asheho redefined version of Kennedy Japan. So onko ye dem onkonkoye flag bearer Emma MPP Amanyoko no. Now in all this no Kennedy Japan ne ba be ma ba akwa ba bonten abekasa. Nensema okanyina ne say MPP for omu nyi nipa ye cause niema Ken aya omu portray Ken as the villain I never was. So the ya brand of say black and no enye because Ken has done a lot for a year NPP Amanyoko. Now Ken Bano I highlighted 1 or 2 or 3 things about kwanya womodi Ken fast, but at the end of the day no Ken has shown patriotism to the NPP Amanyoko no, and it's a very good one, and omo ye nembano so they are all following suit as it is. Yenko na yenko tie ono nso nensema wodi tudwa
Educhum and Ghadafi Jnr Japan. They did very well, especially Brian. I mean, I was amazed.
That's right.
By the votes at Upuli. I mean, he did fantastically well.
Right.
Now, the MPP party is paramount to every individual's interest. So as I say, and to the fact say your candidate Amy and interest say you bekweti MPP party no. So as party Bapabiano, I was say you throw your weight behind honorable. So you throw your weight behind. Oh my goodness! Also throw your weight behind Dr. Amadou Baumia. So what I say, we papa, no mu nsemwa. Or say we should stop saying the no can no vote.
That's right.
And for a black list here papa no say or you be or violent. Now we mean or bet you. I bet you ulusi no. What you say or treat you not to kutukuru.
1.2.
Honorable can the anybody na ana right. The way a papa no you're painting the black before Ghanaians.
That's right.
That's not how he is. Ushemwa a yen somehow okay be a seven and not try a casati and not or casa for the party. Be a year campaign on Kenya, he did it in the party's interest.
That's right.
You see, you're violent. Now when we near or bet you giant. Look at how peaceful he accepted the results.
That's right.
E papa no. Onye basa just say on pesi.
Okay.
So what he say enti no de nanum sama betudwa ya papa no bebe ne chire no e ho ane so ye de ye ni chire. Because we should stop the no can no vote mantra. They and come together as one people. But what our admonition is say Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, he has our support.
Okay.
That's
right.
He has a lot of work to do. It is high time he brought all the factions together.
Okay.
Honorable Ken faction, Ghadafi Jnr Japan, Brian, Omo Kenyina. Na metete, senko for tata, ye womo omu yi omanim, idi Honorable Ken echi.
Okay.
Nko first started Abnorth Asari must go. Kwabena Boati must go. Sticker must go.
Must go where?
Just say they are going to chase them out of
their
yes
their seat.
Let me tell them, without unity and without Honorable Ken taking a central stage in the 2028 elections, it will be very, very, very difficult for us to win.
Okay.
Yes, in your form, let me tell them, they need us more than we need them.
Okay.
Because still people are preaching, said no can no vote. So it was said, Dr. Baumia, I know he's a peaceful man. He should try and organize or arrange a special meeting on our Ken. Not any differences beyond.
Is it a pattern one now? No, anymore on the SOE be at
is that he is the leader.
Very well.
He's the leader now. And you know, I think say on spearhead here and say hey.
Okay.
Dr. Mestre, I know say he will do it. Oh, invite on our Ken. Now I'm have a meeting. Then whatever the difference are, no, they should settle it. So they be on because or kasa. There should be peace in the party. Without unity, brother, it will be impossible because people are saying they're not going to vote.
Right.
That's what I say. Right. So it is high time say you pacify our leader who is on our Ken. So on the base ne bed ebe kasa. No munja atata no motata we say way to we because they
All right, so that was Odame Akwesi Apia, Nensemo, the two Jachrimua. Na chese adia NPP from the year Kennedy, a compare kwe Japan, no, and yet adia neni eje hon cry because say omo ya tanishi neni tanishini image ewo honum. Quickly, ni yanko Laboni Senior High School ewo Laboni na ensembi esi wo honum ye afie twamuno last year, but ehon ensemuno afena enei ebuboba court nsema bem ama teacher ni ba kono ho akoka French teacher monsieur je m'appelle nka oka na so monsieur we de say ni ho nsem bebre na ekopie mu say akora ba ko Laboni Senior High School ho na monsieur efre no monsieur Godwin Adeglo or friend in the corner office on church asemu nkyere no e French on say e amota ye no conference a dialogue no omo dialogue wo hono omra no church dialogue ni mu enkyere no e ni office na ekopie mu wie no na say niema monsieur e de ya akra ne de say entwa ye kra enti quickly no because there is a new update papa yi yede no akopiem police for akachi asese e court na edina asem ehonom because said the ensem no bo ba no na e say efiefo bam na any school authorities no mo kabom ne achi monsieur na yede no kopiem a police for akachi quickly ne go tie the update on this particular issue we see Laboni Senior High School French teacher say wako fefi akra 16 years our Senior High School yanko nego ti update ni emra sisi
school ni akwala bi aka ni teacher bema ewo Accra school Labon Senior High School na Labon Senior High School French teacher na ochire ade ewo school no mu no akwala wadi 16 wo school no one awia teacher no frɛ akwala ne say akwala ne mra no office akwala no so de animdien odi so eko teacher no ho okoye no na teacher ni ne di mpanimfo nkomo nkwala bone sem nkomo ni akwala no so ohun ya ne say teacher ne de ne nsa awura ne bo afede ne mpokua mienu asisi ho no na kese teacher ne de ne nsa fafa aso awrobo ya na obusa teacher se de na wo ye media wo ye kura menye bi da na teacher ne say onya abotre na o kire no said unyini duru mpanyinidie so a ewo bema yewo because en ho ofeye enti teacher no ne keka ya kwala ne se de ohun ya ne se teacher ne de ne nsa awura ne mpokua na teacher de ne nsa call left and right say oye excursion ewo ne mpokua ne mu nti ho no na teacher ye excursion we say teacher the mattress abato no office wa kire say waye na adwen sa kwala ne de obewie no ewo no office wo and ode akwala no kwoto so a oye se ode ne bema ewura akwala na se aye de obede se oye anko tim sa akwala ne nya bi da and teacher de se ne sa akwala ne nya bi da de a ene nanum obe ma akwala ne de ahye nanum akwala no so nya bi da wonim anumu no wonim ano no ye na akwala ne kan ne sisi so ne o re teacher ne bema ma no hoto no ene teacher no pam no okọ no because it's onye bi won ha no na se ne ya okọ classroom anu okọbo ni teacher ni a ni di Mr Evans e wo school ho okọbo na mane sa asem say na ato no na Mr Evans say ni on friend ne brother wo fie na o friend ne bra wo fie na o mo ba school ho ne brother se free fie ba school ho ebebo headmaster na mane ampa ye friend teacher say a school ni akola what 60 years say wo friend say no ko share wo office say wo se am fe na no na me de be sa hwehwe ni mpoku ano ho miemie bi na manya money tata na o mo se ne ye so nya ne di aban asem na o mo ko report asem ne ma police a ye chief French teacher teacher ne din de Godwin Adegble ye chief Mr Godwin ne de Mr Godwin ekogina court October 22nd October 2025 ye the teacher kojina court no teacher say akola no wode ne nsa wurawura ne mpokua no niemi aye na afi akola na so obo tata pa de wa motata because di wuraye no ade no anko case closed egusu a Accra Circuit Court edi ho asemo a de besi bia me de bebra nti wonte ya teacher ni a okọ penetrate amfa nti no ko pe And also madam nimi madam awia ma keka ni nyina ato agu scam uhunu ho abe page out self phone dia call man bi a teacher for amowi a school for nkola no Ghana e wo ho me catch no parent hwe sa woni ma bebre kasa wo hu na bu so mo say kwan ben so e na mo fa so e breaki omo bayo a about about 55% e kasa wo teacher wo school teachers nti abatan mama mani nko teacher ni a wo pe wo ba bema obaba no wo pe na sem bebre mo wani nko ho because a lot of teachers no me pese me kan borofo a teacher fo bebre fa nkola no e wo school mu ho bebre and na onu obi so a waye teacher pen a wajai akwaye different professional na wo interview no na wo ne kasa so nkola de ewe o mo pa nkola ne de ye ye o no na time na mtra de wo bla 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 oh nkola ne de bi ye kama wo me de wo pom na nkola ne bi so ye nkola bone nti teacher no wi no onu hu ne say teacher no ha no na dwen ne say eye flex e wo school mu enti besra ma ba time mo mani nko mo ma ho ene wo ma teacher fo wate a teacher fo no say nkola na pa mu wi o mo say nkola na say ne enti a oba no wo sua de nko ne teacher na twempana nti wo beduru school ma wo twekora nye school ene wo bae abusua me amekasa medin e the sugar drops a me the story about my main account on TikTok your friend Sugar1 TV se wa broche krobia so obeso send sika e de ko Ghana me kan full lemfire amount lemfire app e de send sika e ko Ghana ko App Store Play Store download the lemfire e your first time I would do within information share lemfire baby sa referral code now when you use me referral code sugar now they are share ho said be a lemfire be who say my bohu de rama fashion mama me da see the break